Hey, all right, everybody. Welcome to another RockerMike and Rob Presents show. And we have two fantastic guests today, Cyndi and Henry from the New York City Lower East Side high-energy rock and roll band, the Cynz. Great band. I'm glad you guys are here today with us. And the guy with the big head on the left, that's Rob Rossi.
How you doing?
Hey, hi, Rob. All right. So... yeah, I'm really excited that you guys are on. I've seen you guys a few times, and I think high energy is kind of maybe even an understatement. You guys really rock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We hope so.
Well, you do. And great look, great image, just a perfect rock and roll band. It's what you want to see in a small club, which is great.
And unfortunately, that's pretty much all New York has to offer. So
you know what? Yeah, I mean the situation with the venues is awful now.
Yeah,
you know,
it'll be. I'm very optimistic that it's going to all be back soon.
You know, that's great you say that, because me and Rob always say that this whole situation with COVID and everybody being stuck home, when all this is over and everything reopens, they're going to look to come back and maybe some scene will start. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, I'm hoping. But you guys have been plugging along for, oh God, like over 10 years now. That's right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And basically the Cynz is kind of you two.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, Revolve, you guys are the main songwriters, right?
Yeah.
We are the only songwriters.
The only song.
A
Okay,
revolving family of players.
Gotcha. Now you have 4 albums all together, but you just released something recently. I think it was in the fall, called Karmic Destiny on Fishpuppy Records, and I've checked this out. You got some. There you go. Yeah, there's some great tracks on there, like "Let Me Go," "Run Through the Fire," "Break the Hold," bunch of others. I noticed also that you know, you're on Amazon. Everybody can download this, right? That's a good place to get it.
Yes.
We're everywhere music is sold online.
Everywhere where music is sold.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about this new album. You know, what went into it, how long you guys take to get to record it, and you know.
This album we worked on pretty much all during COVID. And
Wow.
So
It's our COVID album.
It's our COVID album, because there wasn't any gigs.
Right.
Everything was shut down. So, but we were still writing songs. We still had songs ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so we worked on this pretty much all during the let's see, is there a date on here?
all through 2019.
Yeah.
And then it was being mixed and mastered and everything else, I think, in the early part of 2021, and then it came out in.
Yeah, we started it a little bit before COVID, actually. She's right. It was like the winter of 2019, all through 2020. And we had to take some breaks because of some personnel stuff going on. And as soon as that was fixed, we came back and worked on it some more. And between the mastering and getting them all printed up, and there we go.
Yeah, it was the little album that could, honestly, because we had health issues within the band. We had, you know, closures, and you had to distance and masking, and there was all these intense restrictions at the time. And so just trying to do the maneuvering, you know, and get together, and we had to send for example, we had to send our bass player tracks. And then he would be able to work on them in his own studio in his home, which is where we recorded many of the songs. But it was a logistical effort and an effort on so many levels that it was miraculous that we actually did it. I still look at that album and think, wow, you know, we got it done.
And I think it was cool because the technology today is you can record something and send it to somebody like in another state.
Isn't that amazing?
Send it back to the studio, and
as long as they have the same software,
fine tune it. Yeah, so they're using Pro Tools.
Right.
Yeah, it's so easy. You don't even have to be together. You know, regardless of the situation.
It's amazing. The technology is amazing.
Yeah. We brought Arno Hecht in. I'm sure you guys know who Arno is.
From the Uptown Horns. I was going to ask you about that.
He's a good friend, but I've never asked him now as a friend. I've never asked him to do anything for me. But he asked me, he goes, when am I going to play on the track of yours? And I went, well, why don't you listen to these 2 tracks we're about to record and see if there's something there you want to do. And
just so the fans know, which track is it?
Well, he did 2. He did Let Me Go and what's the other one? He did
I'm Still Here.
I'm Still Here. But the amazing thing was Arno came in and they just put in where he stands, where the setup was. And it was like, boom, he did it.
Yeah, like when a guy like Arno, somebody like me, I'm not the guy to tell Arno what to play. So we figured
I did.
so we let him come in. Arno, here's your space. We'll let you know when we're all queued up. So we didn't know what he was going to do. As it turned out, he had a 4-piece thing all mapped out in his head. Okay, roll the first one. He did a track. Okay, roll the next one. He did another track on top of that. Did another one on top of that.
It sounded like a horn section.
Did another one on top of that. So
he's amazing.
It was huge. It was like a 700-pound gorilla of horns. And it was
2 sax. He had the bass sax and he had the
the baritone.
The baritone and
the tenor.
Yeah. Okay. See, I don't know anything about musical instruments, as you all can tell right now. But it's funny because I can put a song together and he understands the terminology I use, which nobody else would understand at all. But we managed to write songs, and he helps sometimes with words. I help sometimes with music, harmonies, things like that. But we managed to do that without me ever having played an instrument in my life, although I did play a drum pad in high school.
Well, it looks like you're a natural.
I have rhythm. Rhythm is not a problem for me, but I honestly cannot understand how anybody could play a string thing with dots and you need 2 hands, and it's beyond me. You can't teach me. He's tried. You cannot teach me. I don't understand.
She has her own language.
Well, your instrument is your voice.
Yeah.
Right?
That's my instrument. Yeah. Yes. And that comes from growing up in a house with 4 females. We just screamed at each other my whole life.
But you must have screamed with a little bit of harmony or something, right?
You had to get your own voice to get heard over the other women.
Yeah.
I had all sisters. I didn't have brothers. And, we were the kind of kids that we pulled each other's hair and we screamed. And if you wanted to get heard, you really had to somehow be a distinct voice in that mix. So I guess I developed a very particular scream that works for rock and roll.
Where'd you grow up, Cyndi?
I grew up in New Jersey. I'm a New Jersey girl.
Okay, wow. Jersey girl.
Central Jersey, yeah.
How about you, Henry? Where'd you grow up?
Same.
I've known him since 15.
Somerville.
You guys knew each other since how long?
I was 15 years old and sneaking into a bar up the road to see bands. I take my father's car in the middle of the night on the school night and go see bands up at this little bar called the Hofbrau. And he was one of the people that played in the bands up there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Henry, when did you start playing guitar?
When I was like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Wow, young.
Wanted to get the girls.
That's usually the reason. Yeah.
Well, my parents, it was funny. My parents always gave like instruments to my brother. And I used to get, I don't know what I used to get,
snowshoes,
Mr. Machine, or some crazy thing. But he would always get like these different instruments. Like one time he got this trumpet. It kind of worked like a real trumpet, but it was like made out of plastic. And so we played with it for a couple weeks and let it go. And I picked it up and started playing, songs on it. And my parents were like, whoa, cool. So then the next thing he got was a guitar, which he played for a couple weeks. And again, it's like sitting in the closet. So I picked it up and started plunking along. And I taught myself songs from my little stupid record player. It had like a little box that you open up.
Yeah.
And I would there and figure out songs. I didn't even tune it right. I used to tune it to like an open chord.
What were you listening to back then?
Steppenwolf, The Ventures, Stones, of course, Beatles.
I believe one of the Ventures just passed away recently.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that. That was
Don Wilson, right?
he was the last one. I think.
Yeah, that's right. He was the last one.
Wow. Henry has an encyclopedic knowledge of music and music history. I've never met anybody. I'm going to say it. I've never met anybody who knows as much as he does. And I mean, we're going back to the original blues guys, even jazz. Yeah. He's taught me so much about, appreciating where all the bands I loved when I was coming up, they came from these other blues people. And, rock and roll is a result of really a whole different group of musicians.
So anyway, I started playing guitar and harmonica. I used to play harmonica going between classes in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys asked me if I wanted to join a band, and one thing led to another. And
tell them about how you used to play.
Here we are, the Cynz.
Tell them about how you used to play.
Well, no, I mean, see, I didn't play the right way. Like, there's a certain way you're supposed to tune the guitar.
Yeah.
Which I didn't have a book. I didn't have anything. I just
had taught yourself
this instrument. So I just tuned the strings so that they sounded good.
Yeah.
Just hitting them, and just plunked my finger across the fret to make chords up and down the neck. And I was ready. I was ready to rock and roll. I saw the Beatles on TV, and that's what I wanted to do, like everybody else.
That's the rock and roll way. Do it yourself, Yeah. Now, you guys have cited some very cool influences to your music. The Ramones, Patti Smith, the Dead Boys. I hear some Stiv influences in your music, definitely Stiv Bators. You said Steppenwolf. What about you, Cyndi? What were you listening to? What do you kind of think of as main influences for what you do?
Well, I worked in a rock and roll club, so I met a lot of the bands that I loved, and I was kind of like absorbed into that whole scene back in like 80s through 90s. I was always working around music and everything, and so but I was a poet that used to perform with a band, and so for me, of course, Patti Smith, because
poetry,
poet, with a band, she was. She was the apex. She was the acme.
Of course.
So Jim Carroll, who I got to know, he was an influence. Ivan Crowell is kind of a mentor to me. And he actually was the person who taught me how to download this voice recorder so that I could send my poetry over to Jerome Parker Wells, who was living at the time in, I think he was living in Sweden. And he would create music, and we started to do these performance pieces with poetry and music, and they got noticed online, and that's how that all started for me with the spoken word.
Right.
But I was still doing poetry when I reconnected with Henry, and I had real punk influences, which Henry is more of a true rock and roll guy. I was more like I want to scream, I want to be angry. And so when you combine the two of us, we kind of came up with our own thing. But he wanted me to sing, and I was like, nah, I'm not singing. This story's been told a million times. But for people who are listening to your show that haven't heard it, I was dead set against singing. I'm like, I'm not a singer. I'm not singing. And he kept encouraging me to just sing the words.
Yeah.
And it was rough. I mean, you could see the progression from our first album until the fourth album. I definitely had to let go of the idea of what a singer was and just do what I do. And once I got that, the notion that I just do me, I don't have to be Celine Dion. And
right.
So the definition of a singer could be rock and roll singer. It doesn't have to be, the traditional singer.
Exactly.
That's when our songs started to become, I think, more solidified.
Well, yeah, I mean, there is an evolution there. The first album is what, 5 Mortal Sins?
No, actually, the first one is the original.
The original Sins, and then 5 Mortal Sins, right?
You can hear such a progression from one to the next.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, Little Devil.
Right, Little Devil's the third one, and then the fourth one is Karmic Destiny.
which if you look at the album cover for Karmic Destiny, I'm a tarot reader. I've done it for decades.
I was noticing that. I saw that kind of style to it. Yeah.
I'm a serious tarot reader. I've studied Kabbalah and a lot of mysticism.
My wife is interested in that stuff too. She knows a lot.
Good. Because then she'll appreciate the cover. The cover was the card of the Wheel of Fortune. But I had this vision of the wheel, instead of it being in Latin saying tarot, it would say the Cynz. And instead of the 4 elements, you'd have the 4 instruments. And so I had my artist friend Renee draw up my idea.
No, yeah, he's got it.
We got it too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's real special to me because the background behind the tarot card is what we call a nudismo, which was something that Renee created, not only just in art, but in garments that I modeled for him back in the day.
Right.
And he's very well known for this, and amongst other things. But the album combines, my dream of the Wheel of Fortune has to do with destiny and karmic experiences. And since I've known Henry since I'm 15, we always ran into each other over the years. We might not see each other for 10 years, and out of the blue, we'll be on the street and run into each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like we kind of ricochet off each other and then come back.
Always find your way back.
But I really feel that the destiny was the band. That's what was meant to be all along. I think if we had done this when we were younger, we'd be dead from drugs. Like it was better it happened now.
Things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah. I don't think I could have handled the lifestyle of being in a band and the craziness and the hecticness and the stage fright, because I have horrible stage fright. People don't know that. Once I'm on the stage, I'm fine. But before I get up there, I could, it's horrible. It's like you're sending me to the electric chair.
Yeah.
But
you never know it. I've seen your shows. I
would have probably just drugged up, drank the whole bit. Now I just go up there completely straight, and I face it head on, So I don't think I would have had that discipline 20 years ago, even
back in the day.
I mean, so many bands that that do start at a younger age. If they get past the drinking and the drugs and whatever, they all say they get high on just playing. After
there is no better high than being on stage and taking the energy in off the audience and giving it right back at them, and then they throw it back at you again. It's like this kismet, this kind of I don't know, what do you call it?
It's like a connection, right, with the audience.
It's amazing. And you know what I noticed too? Even if everybody's standing in the back of the room, once we get going, it's the thing that I love more than anything is to watch as they move forward until they're at the stage.
Right.
Like you got them. You got them where you need to have them when they start moving up. I would be very, very scared if I couldn't get that audience to move closer.
Now you have some great stage outfits as well.
Henry does.
Both of you do. And one I noticed was I couldn't help it. You were dressed like Genie.
That was Halloween.
Yeah, that was a Halloween.
Was that a Halloween show?
A really great.
Yeah, I was Major Nelson.
Oh, right.
I had the whole 9 yards. I had the whole Air Force uniform.
Yeah, Larry Hagman.
The little badge.
That's cool.
But Cyndi, I mean, you look like Barbara Eden. You don't.
I know.
You probably heard that a million times.
Too. It's funny. My mother really did, but I remember one time I used to be an actress, and I was on an audition. I was walking down back in the day when mostly your auditions were like in the Times Square area. When Times Square was
Times Square. Yeah.
And I remember some guy chased me for like 2 blocks. And I realized I'd never outrun him. So I turned around and I said, what do you want? And he goes, can I have your autograph? I'm like, did I do anything that was that good? I'm trying to think. And he thought I was Barbara Eden.
Rob, was that you? You grew up in the 40s.
I know, it might have been. That's my neighborhood right there. Chasing down people. Hey, autograph.
Wow.
You want to hear something funny? I got Bill Cosby's autograph like that years ago, before all the scandals. But
It's not worth
America's Dad.
It's probably not worth anything now, right? That's true.
Now it's worth nothing.
Nothing. But it might be one day, in the way that Charles Manson's autograph might be worth something now. You know?
Well, somebody will always buy Charles Manson something. Unfortunately, there's crazies out there.
Yeah. But Henry and I like to dress up on stage. And I think our philosophy is, if you just came to hear music and you don't want to show, stay home in your living room and listen to the album. We're from the old school that when people pay money, especially to come into the club,
right?
When they come out and they take their time, to however their transportation is to get there, however it took them, give them a show. Nobody wants to see somebody with their ass crack hanging out of their baggy pants and their flannel shirt. And that was good for like a minute. That whole Seattle thing was really, really great because that was music that I came up with. And I love all that stuff. And it was good for a minute. But I think people really dug like Bowie's day. And
I was going to say Bowie, even Alice Cooper,
The new band Maneskin, is it called Maneskin? That new band, they dress up in drag and they've got chicks in the band. And
what are they called?
Maneskin. They're getting really big now. They're really energetic and really hot. It's a young band.
We're due for a scene like that. The one guy who I thought had a chance of bringing that back, but he failed at it, was Marilyn Manson. All right.
The Struts.
Well, right. That's true. That's true. The Struts. But with Manson in the 90s, I liked what he was doing for a couple of years, like that Antichrist Superstar and then Into Mechanical Animals.
Yeah.
I saw him a couple of times in that period. And his whole thing was he was tired of, and he was vocal about it. He didn't like the grunge scene because there was no style to it. And he wanted to bring back Bowie, Kiss, Alice Cooper, back into, and he did that. And unfortunately, he kind of went off the rails after that. But that period, we're due for something like that. Yeah. I think we are.
I was going to wear an outfit for you guys, and she told me not to. So,
what were you going to wear, Henry?
I just wanted to mention that Arno played on the last Struts album. So he called me up one day. I have been so hot on the Struts for so long, trying to get people to listen to them. Because it was close to like the best band out there right now that brings that glam style back. So Arnold calls me up and he said, "Hey, I got a VIP +1 to go see the Struts." I'm like, "Yes."
Where was that?
To ask, I went, "Yes." So we went and we had this. It was phenomenal. We were up in the balcony in our own little section, looking over the stage, and they were so good. The crowd was just doing all the moves.
Where was this, Cindy? Where was this?
In New York, but it wasn't Webster Hall. What's the other ones? The big ones, the bigger ones.
Bowery Ballroom?
It has a balcony.
Irving Plaza?
It might have been Irving Plaza.
Irving Plaza?
Irving Plaza.
Yeah, great place. Yeah.
And right after the show that I saw them in, they had to cancel shows because of COVID.
Yeah.
So man, I'm so glad I had that night because they were unbelievable.
Yeah, that's cool.
You want to hear something? One of my biggest regrets when I wanted to see the Detroit Cobras, because I think this girl's going to die any day now. And she freaking just passed away. And I was trying to see them because I was kind of telling my buddy, this girl's going to die out of an overdose or something. Because she would go to Parkside place and just one day she's emptying in her bag and she all the drugs, all the stuff all over the freaking place.
That's what I heard. But did you see the video that one of the first shows we ever did was there's a video on YouTube of us covering I Just Can't Please You.
Oh.
And I posted it the other day when I found out that she had died.
Yes, yeah.
And I was so sick because it was one of the first songs we ever played.
Yeah, it was Just Can't Please You was they covered it. I can't remember the original artist.
Right, but we did their version.
We did their version of it. Yeah,
they were very good at picking obscure covers to do.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I really dug them early on. I saw them a bunch of times in the 90s, like early on, and they've managed to stay all these years and just be fantastic. Unfortunately, that's the end. Unfortunately, her voice was unbelievable. She had a great voice.
She had a great voice.
37 years old.
It's a shame.
That's
it's a shame.
Maxwell's.
And Maxwell's in Hoboken. Yeah. Good place.
Yeah. So
Wow.
very sad about her.
When I was researching you guys and preparing for the show tonight, I noticed a couple of clips on YouTube. I think it was more than one. It was at least one of you guys playing with Mark Bosch.
I love Mark, and actually, Mark's gonna probably play my birthday bash.
I was going to ask you about your connection with him, because to me, he's like, the last 20 years, he's like one of my favorite guitar players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Ian Hunter fan, so his connection with Ian, and I got to see him on the Martha Hoople reunion tour 2 years ago. Yeah, that was good at the Beacon. I was at that show, but he's amazing. Are you guys good friends, or?
We hang. He's a sweetheart. He's a great human being, and and we just sort of tell stories, and we get together like around the holidays
at my bar. We do an annual get together at my bar, but my bar's across the street from Jim Mastro's guitar bar, the guitar shop.
Okay.
And so I actually met Mark first, because I met Mark through Jim at, I think, an Ian Hunter show. I think that's the first time I actually talked to Mark. I can't remember, but Mark used to come to our shows. And I think he said to me one day, if I have it correctly, he said, if you ever want me to come up and pop up for a song or something, I'm like, okay.
We were like, oh my God. Yeah, of course.
I pinch myself a lot with this band where like people just want to play with us. And I'm like, and there's that part of me that always goes, why? But at the same time, I'm like, we're living our best life right now. Do it now. Say yes. I used to be really shy about asking, but now I'm kind of, especially after COVID, I'm like, we got to live now. Do everything.
I think we've all learned that lesson.
Yeah.
We've
definitely
had some remarkable opportunities to play with very, very talented people. And it's just like, oh my God, yes.
And be produced by really incredible people, because Pepe Castro produced a lot of the songs on Little Devil. And
he was from the Blues Magoos.
Blues Magoos, yeah.
And
wow.
That's this.
And played bass on a couple tracks.
This is our vinyl record. It's a glorious vinyl, and Pepe Castro produced about 80% of this record. And what an experience it was working with him.
I met him years ago at the old Cave Stomp festivals that they used to have. The Blues Magoos would play. I got to talk to him for about 15 minutes. Nice guy. Very nice guy. So you guys are getting ready to go to Europe, right?
Sunday. And there's a snowstorm on Saturday.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Oh,
6 to 12 inches of snow.
I heard they downgraded it a little bit, so maybe it won't be as bad. I hope.
I just want to get on that plane. Between worrying about not getting COVID for the last month so that I can get on that plane. It's not the only reason I didn't want to get COVID. But I mean, members of my family got COVID over Christmas, and I'm like, that's it. I'm not getting to Sweden. Because if they got it, I'm going to get it. And I'm going to, even if I recover now, I'm still going to test positive by the time I go to Sweden. But
what do you need, a 24-hour test? Like the 24 hours ahead of time?
48.
But
48.
I was negative. I never got it. And they had full-blown COVID, and I never got it. I don't know why. But I keep telling Henry, once I get on that plane, between the snowstorms, the COVID tests, not getting COVID, trying to be careful, once we sit on that plane, I'm going to exhale, and maybe I might even have a cocktail.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why not?
Until it's time to come back.
It's a good, it's probably 6-7 hours to Sweden, right? Easily.
7.5.
Yeah.
7.5. Yeah. Wow.
It's our
going
second
out
time.
and 8 coming back.
So how many gigs you got lined up?
We had 3, and because of COVID, we have a radio interview there with their Little Stevens Underground Garage affiliate with Ed O'Neill.
Oh, okay.
But we had 3 shows lined up, and because of COVID, the promoters got scared, and then they got canceled. And somehow, again, miraculously, we were able to get 2 shows back. And so we have 2 definite shows that are they're absolutely definite.
Right.
The radio show. But I'm like, you know what? If we had one show with all this COVID stuff going on and the cancellations and the restrictions, I'm happy. I just want to get out of here and go somewhere. And
Sweden's
play.
really cool. Stockholm's cool.
We have a lot of friends there.
A lot of friends there. There's some great guitar shops. I definitely plan on visiting. And
have you performed in Europe before as the Cynz? Yeah.
This will be our second tour in Sweden.
In Sweden.
Wow.
Just Sweden, no other country at this point.
No other country.
I've performed in other countries as a poet. I've performed in the UK, in Ireland, but as a band, we've done 2 tours in Sweden. The first tour was, we didn't really know what to expect or what was going on, or we were so new to getting a band together, to get a band out there. And this one, we have a rehearsal space lined up. We'll be playing with the Plastic Pals and the Noise Detectors Incorporated. And
I've been checking out the Noise Detectors a little bit. They've been on my radar. I was thinking about reaching out to
Pop.
The girl with the blonde. What's her name? I forget.
That's Ann
something, I think. Yeah. I'm friends with her on Facebook, but we've never really talked. And I just curious, and I checked out her band recently, and I'm like, wow, these guys are pretty good.
Yeah. So you want to also reach out to Pop. So
okay, I will.
I'll hook you guys up. We'll hook you up. And the Plastic Pals are really good too.
Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Not bad.
Now, Rob, where were we in the charts in Sweden last time?
Oh, we were like in the top. We were in the top 50. We might have been like 28, 29 for like a few weeks.
For the Getting Lumped Up podcasts. Yeah. Whether it's I don't know if it's the rock show or the conspiracy show or the interview show that we're doing with you now, the RockerMike and Rob, but whatever it is, they're watching us.
Good. I hope you watch us like Monday or Tuesday or whatever day this comes out, because our shows will be the Thursday, Friday, or the Friday and Saturday
of next week.
Right?
Yeah, I think we can get this show up before then, so we'll get it out there and we'll promote it. Cool.
Yeah, well, I'll probably have it by. I'm going to try to work as soon as possible, because last week we interviewed that guy Rick Fox, and man, that was a long interview. I got to break that down into 2 pieces. It was like 2 hours.
It was a long interview. Yeah, we've been having some long ones lately. Now, when you come back, you got 2 dates lined up. You got Dick Manitoba's birthday bash and your birthday, right?
Wow.
I do a birthday bash every year, but with COVID, we missed a few. And actually, a guy who plays bass with us, Michael Giblin from Split Squad. So know from Split Squad
from Harrisburg, right?
Yeah.
They
the -5 as well.
They got Clem Burke in the band, right?
Yes.
Yeah, great band.
And so, and actually, interestingly, Michael won't be able to go with us, unfortunately, on this trip to Sweden, because he just got over COVID. So he wouldn't pass the test at this point. But also in the Split Squad is Keith Strang from the Flesh Tones. And so we're going to have, Keith's going to be over there. From what I understand, if what I understand is correct, and it was supposed to be a surprise, but I was told, I think he's going to introduce us, maybe do a song. We'll see.
Hopefully.
That would be cool.
Check out his band over there, the Vacuum Cleaners.
Okay.
Vacuum Cleaners.
Yeah, they're really good. You'd like them.
Okay. Excellent.
We have a big dinner on the Tuesday night at our hotel. Has a really nice restaurant. So as a thank you for what everybody's done for us, we're hosting a big dinner with everybody.
Yeah,
It's gonna be mayhem.
Everybody in the scene is gonna descend into one Swedish spot.
Yeah, we're gonna be busking on the street.
Awesome.
Help us pay for the dinner we just had.
You can do it.
Yeah. So
That's great.
I think it's going to be a really fun trip. I just got to get on that plane. You got to get on the plane,
Yeah.
and the other 2 have to get on the plane. So, let me mention the other 2. So we have Andrew George, who plays drums for us on and off. He's kind of like a fill-in drummer, but he's great. And so he's coming along for the trip. And Dave Uhal, who used to play with Mickey Lee. What was the
Rattlers?
The Rattlers.
The Rattlers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a great band.
So
Yeah.
Dave plays bass with us. He fills in for Michael when Michael can't play. And so we have a great family of musicians, of people that we've played with that, you know, it's incredible to, I feel honored that these people want to play our songs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the album that you got right now is pretty good. It's 10 songs. It's about 34 minutes long. So it's easy to listen to the whole album with the 10 songs and stuff. It's just like one hit after another. The way it goes, like the way you guys put it together, so it goes from one song to another.
It flows perfectly.
Oh,
yeah, it's a perfect flow. Fantastic flow.
It's gotten good airplay so far on the radio, which is
well, I know Bill Kelly's played you.
Bill Kelly's a cool guy.
He's awesome.
Jersey, Henry's from Jersey, Bill's from Jersey, so there's a sort of connection. You know, you bond.
Yeah.
Something about people from New Jersey.
The Jersey thing.
I've been listening to Bill for ages because when he was on FMU and everything, and, you know.
I remember him from FMU too.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's a cool guy. He's fun.
Yep. And he's a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Well, hi, Bill.
Yeah.
He's doing a show on Saturday that's going to be, well, the joke that he put up was that it's going to be about, like, why does Sweden make so much furniture? And I said, no, that's great, because I'll be listening to your show while I pack my clothes.
That's funny.
Great. That's great.
Bill Stevens Underground Garage has been very good to us.
Very good.
Palmyra Delran has been playing us on her show.
Speedy John,
Carlucci.
Genya.
Also Genya Ravan.
And
Rodney Bingenheimer.
Rodney Bingenheimer,
yeah.
We've been lucky. We've been really lucky. There's a lot of good bands out there. And it's not everybody you mentioned.
Everybody you mentioned has great taste in music, so pat yourself on the back. If they're playing you, it's because you're great.
I pinch myself on the back.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of really, really good bands out there that just don't have that opportunity necessarily to get heard. And so today, because there's no real music industry for rock bands,
right?
There's indie labels. You know, you have indie labels.
It's all do it yourself.
But
it is. It's totally underground.
Like to get played on the radio or to be on shows like this is your exposure. And so I'm so grateful to people that take the time, you know, to give bands like ours. We're a little indie band, you know, just to give our band that exposure or the interest that you even know details about us, that you did your research, and that's admirable. So, you know, so I always like to make sure I say thank you, because it's an honor.
You're very welcome. That's great.
Mike does all the work, because Mike always looking for new bands and stuff like that. So he tells me right away, and then he'll send me links. Listen to these guys, listen to that. So hanging out with Mike, I learned a lot about music.
Yeah.
And he called me. He's the one that gave me the name, RockerMike.
Good name.
Thank you. So, all right. So let's.
Where are you guys from?
Oh, originally I'm from Brooklyn, but grew up mostly around Queens.
Okay.
I
And Rob,
I grew up in Hell's Kitchen, New York.
Cool.
Yeah.
The original Hell's Kitchen. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I spent a lot of time in New York because I also went to school there, and I danced. I was in classes like 5 days a week for years.
Yeah.
And I also went to acting school there and did all my acting was always in New York.
She was an MTV dancer.
I was a Club MTV.
You were on Club MTV.
Yeah.
I'm sure I saw you. You know, at some point.
They're just somebody's posting all the shows from that era.
So on YouTube.
I posted a few that I'm dancing in, and I think it was Mike Giblin who watched one of them and said, "Isn't it amazing how you just found the camera? Because there's the camera, there's me." But
did you get to talk to Downtown Julie Brown ever, or she just stayed away from everybody?
Well, it was you went in there and you did it was a job. You know, you went in there and you danced, and there were the main dancers that would go on tour. I didn't have time for that because I had auditions and classes and things. But you went. It was sometimes you'd be in there really early in the day, and some of these people came in. They were really wasted, and you're like, man, it's so early. You know, I mean, I like to party back in those days too, but like, you know, not till at night. These people would come in and they were wrecked from the second they walked in. So you could catch some.
But they could still dance.
Well, some of them really shouldn't have. But it was a cattle call too a lot. Like they only had so many steady dancers, and then they put out a cattle call like, "Hey, come to, the club and you could dance on Club MTV."
Yeah,
I was like 87 to 89.
Yeah, a friend of mine.
That was the heyday.
A friend of mine named Ian. He was like this big rocker dude with long hair. He used to go do that. It was so weird. One day, I would see him in Webster Hall all the time. And then one day I see him. Ian was like, "I can't believe you work for MTV. What the hell's wrong with you?"
You didn't work for MTV. They offered you lunch. Yeah. You kind of did it because it was fun. You got to meet a lot of cool people. I was a dancer, so I just thought somehow, I don't know what I was thinking that was going to help my career. It actually didn't do a thing for my dancing career, but I did do several music videos. So, I made some connections, which was really what it was about for me.
Right. Okay. All right. I want to thank Henry and Cyndi from the Cynz for coming on. And you guys were fantastic. We wish you all the best on that Swedish tour coming up. And I am going to do my best to make that Manitoba show. I love Richard. He's a great guy. He's been on the show, and we see him around the neighborhood. He always says hi and stuff. So, definitely want to go to his birthday.
Hey, what's that show at?
Bowery Electric, Rob.
It's at Bowery Electric. It's a Wednesday, February 23rd. And also,
you're off. I'm off. I don't see why we can't go.
Yeah.
Arno's playing with Handsome Dick, and actually he called me right before the show started to let me know. And I texted him. I don't know if he texted me back yet, but I said, "Why don't you come up since you're going to be there and do the 2 songs with us that you did?" So
cool.
He probably texted me back. He did. So I'll look at it in a minute.
All right.
That should be good. That
cool.
should be
fun, we'll be looking for you guys.
No, we'll be in touch, and we'll have this show up. Help promote you guys a little bit in Sweden.
Great.
And we'll see you when you get back. And what do we always say at the end of the show, Rob?
We don't get drunk. We get
lumped up.
See you next week, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Rock and
Bye,
roll.
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.